And just what the world needs, another man. Yeah.
Welcome back to Revirginized.
Today we are recapping season 3, episode 10, which was a good one, by the way. It was a very good one. I must admit, it took them literally 10 episodes to make the shit make sense.
Look at
And
her.
for those of you who are new watching, I'm Candice B.
And I'm Jay like the letter, and I like the change of tone. She's usually starting off strong. She's usually on the fence, on the offense. She's usually on and ready with her claws out. So this is a nice change of tone. It's a nice change of pace.
Thank you.
Um,
Good job.
I will back you up on that. I hate them for taking this long to have made the show good. It's not. I can't call it a great show, but the fact that they
Right.
made it a good show now, it's like, fuck you. Like, really, fuck you. I am so angry that we've held them with attachment. We've been here for them. We've been riding the train the entire time. So they've had their chances. And for them to now at the verge of closing, at the verge of at the end, they decide, oh, we're gonna make the show good now, and we're gonna give them some good episodes. And that's some fuck shit.
Absolutely. And it's like, and there are writers. There's a writers team. I know we love
Yeah.
to joke and say MPK is the only one. And I do think for a while he
Well,
was like,
well, well. To be clear, MPK is the writer of the show. There's always a writing team, but there's not a writer's room for this show, which is a very different.
gotcha.
If had there been a writer's room, we wouldn't be getting so much of the sloppiness that we get on this series.
It's too sloppy. And I feel like this is wonderful, right? You give us a good episode, because I'm still not going to say that the breakup episode with Aiden was the best, because it fucking wasn't. But
Oh.
anyway, you give us a good episode. It took you 10 episodes to get there. And when
Hmm.
the world finds out that we are no longer, right? It's like, bam, thank you. And I'm just like, that's crazy to me. That's crazy.
Uh,
It almost makes me think. I was having this conversation with a friend. Like, would they have been
mhm.
better off doing what Netflix used to do when they used to release like the entire series?
That's a good question. Just for everybody that's listening right now or in watching, we are going to use the after show to get back at you guys in talking about the cancellation and the show and where we're at with everything that's going on. So we're gonna make sure that we address that there. But that is a really, really, really good conversation to bring up because drop formats are so varied right now. Every production, every studio, every label uses such a unique drop format now for their own shows. There's shows that drop the first half and then the second half later, the first 3 episodes and then weekly. And so it's interesting to ask ourselves, would the show have been a different situation if they would have dropped all the episodes at once?
Right? Because it's like, you know, every episode was like disappointment after disappointment.
It
We're rage
was.
watching. Interestingly enough, the highest rated episodes were when she met Aiden's kids, which was great. And I'm like, guys, let's stay in there. Let's stay in the context. And they just couldn't do that. But I guess we'll kick it off with Carrie. So, we start this episode with Carrie writing her novel and whatnot.
Yeah.
And she's like getting over Aiden with like no context either. Like, and just like that, it's no longer summer, but I'm not really sure how much time has passed and whatnot. Like,
They don't
and
like to tell us. They don't like to tell us.
no, but she's getting on with Duncan. She's finishing her novel, and I will admit, as much as I don't like him, they do have a good rapport with each other. I
They
still think
have
he's using her.
chemistry. They have
They
chemistry.
do. They do. Not like crazy chemistry, but I still think he's using her for some kind of reason. I can't place it.
Of course.
I'm also a little bit like, I don't know, but they do have a good chemistry, and she
Wait,
does.
no, you're not gonna get out of that. You're also a little bit what? What were you gonna say?
I'm a little bit of a hater because I don't like him.
Okay. Okay,
Like,
that's justified though.
but we do in this episode see her talking about like she is growing feelings for him, right? Like
Yes.
he invites her to like this opening event, and she was kind of trying to downplay it. She was like, it really was platonic all these times, but now I'm wondering if there is something lingering. And we even see it in her outfit choice. Like she doesn't want to be full Carrie
Yes.
for him. She wants to be like, no, I don't like him. Like this is just what it is. And then we see her step into old Carrie. And I really liked it, but I was left wondering. One, she owes Miranda a huge apology because Miranda called it.
Yeah.
Two, is she trying to justify the fact that she always had feelings for him and maybe Aiden wasn't making up like this jealousy?
Okay.
Or by like saying like, oh, it was platonic. I never looked at him that way. But obviously now that Aiden's gone, I'm looking at him that way. Or was that really real? Or do you really think it was platonic?
I think my answer to that would be I think, and tell me if you've ever been in this situation where everyone around you is telling you something. And they keep telling you and they keep telling you, and in your mind, you're like, no, that can't be because these 20 reasons that I have or whatever, right? And then it comes to fruition, and then you're like, oh my God, everybody was right. How come I was the only one that didn't see it? I think Carrie was very much in the situation where, yes, she saw the chemistry. Yes, she saw that there was something brewing, but she was so resistant to it because she wanted to stay true to her situation with Aiden that it couldn't happen. So even in
Right.
her defensiveness towards Miranda, it was very much a reaction to like, no, 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 no. There's nothing happening because if there's something was happening, I'd be cheating. And I feel like it was her kind of talking to herself.
Okay. I can definitely see that. And I feel like this episode we got a sense of old Carrie. You know what I'm saying? Like old confused Carrie who's always trying to like figure her shit out as she goes.
Yeah.
I didn't really like her outfits, I'm not gonna lie, but I did like that she
You
showed up
didn't
for
like the
Duncan,
outfit she went to the event with?
the Vivian
Ooh,
Westwood.
I loved that outfit. That outfit was so good.
I think maybe it's the way they paired it with that jacket. Like I
Oh yeah, I
just
didn't like the jacket. I like the
okay, that's what it was.
dress. Yeah,
Yes.
the dress with the waist element. That was so
Yeah.
beautiful. I loved it. I thought it was interesting. I can tell that Duncan had a plan when he met Carrie. When he met Carrie, they met very turbulently. But once he found out who Carrie was, what Carrie did, and the potential that Carrie had, because he must have gone back and told people, "Oh, I my neighbor's Carrie Bradshaw," and people must have been like, "Oh my God, Carrie Bradshaw," just like Carrie did to her friends that she was neighbors with Duncan. And
Yeah.
so he must have known and had an idea. And what I liked about the situation is that Carrie very quickly at the event found out, oh, I think I'm being used. In her head, you can
Yes.
kind of in her
Yes.
face see her mental dialogue of, oh, I'm being used for all these games. And what I liked was that she had agency. She was okay with it, and she said, "Okay, you know what? I'm being used. It's okay. This man is gonna leave at some point. I'm gonna use him too." And
Yes.
that's why made me okay with everything that happened after that.
I fully agree because I didn't want a situation with Duncan and her to happen, even though we've been predicting it. But I
Hmm.
was okay with it because I love the way it happened. It's not a relationship. It's and in reality, I thought it was gonna be a heartbreak, which I would have hated if she got with him in that way. But I'm glad it wasn't. I'm glad it was a you think you're gonna use me. I'm gonna get my rocks off as well. Because two can play that game. Two
Yeah.
can play it. And I like the way that it was just the ending. She's like, "Yeah, I get what you're trying to say. Like, you're not coming back. I get what you're trying to
Yeah,
say."
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right?
When she said, I kind of got the gist of it. I liked it because, in true straight man fashion, he was being dishonest. He was being a little sneaky and persuasive because he could have, from the very beginning, been like, "I'm only here for 6 months. I'm only here for this book situation. I want to get this extension, and I'm gonna leave as soon as this is done." He could have said all that, but in true man fashion, he was like, "I'm just gonna go for the ride and see and when she catches on to it." And the fact that she caught on to it and gave it back to him, that's what I wanted to happen.
Yes.
And that was what I was okay with happening.
Yes. That's why I liked their interaction because I'm like, if they have a sexual encounter, I'm gonna vomit. But I was okay. I was okay because I'm like, okay. And she really reminded me of Samantha. Right? Because that was such a power move that only Samantha would have made. Like, you think you're going to one up me, but I'm going to show you who the one with the balls really
I think
is.
Samantha would have taken it to another level, but yeah, that was very Samantha energy type. So I
Yeah.
appreciated that too. But anyways, they end up in bed, and she ends up in bed with him with the knowledge that he is gonna leave. This is gonna be the end of it, and she's very much okay with it. So I appreciated that, and I also something else I liked about the Carrie situation this episode was how her real life seeps into her writing. We started the episode, like
Yeah.
you said, with her writing her novel, and a lot of what she was reading of her novel was very much reflective of what was going on with her and Aiden and
Yeah.
the rupture of their relationship. So I'm glad that we're leaving Carrie there. I'm glad that she's gonna be back and she's gonna be in that Sex in the City Carrie Bradshaw natural state, and Lord knows what's going to happen in the next two episodes. They have two episodes to wrap
Yeah.
Carrie up and leave it to wherever they're going to leave it. I do hope and pray that they don't do one of those 4 years later or 10 years later situations, because they're going to really shoot themselves in the leg with that. If they leave the door open at the end of the season to whatever may happen, another movie or the opportunity for Samantha to go back in a different project, I think they'll be able to be very successful, because we have our own thoughts of why this season and what this series failed, and we're gonna bring them up in the after show. But I think they can leave that door open. But
Yeah.
this leads us over to Miranda, Candice.
I gotta say, I really enjoyed Miranda's arc for once. I did. And a part of me, I think it's because she spoke less, right?
Yes,
Like it was less, and I hate to say this because I love Cynthia Nixon, but it was like less Cynthia Nixon-y, less Miranda-y, but more of Miranda's neurotic self, right? Like we see her finding out
yeah,
that Brady is going to have a baby. And I think I loved it because Steve was involved, and you see them parenting, right? You see her taking a step back, letting Steve really
yes.
do his thing, but she does finally turn into like that mama bear that we've been waiting for her to be, right? She tries to stalk this girl, find this girl, stalk her. And she does. She finds out she works in like a hairdressing
A
place.
hair salon,
And
yeah,
she
hair
like
salon.
goes undercover, right? I'm like, Miranda is this kind of crazy. Like, I think Miranda's
Yes,
this,
she is.
she's always been a little neurotic,
And she
but
took the right person with her. She took Charlotte with her.
but interestingly enough, Charlotte was the one to calm her down and like breathe.
Yes.
And I loved it because at one point, like, she's like getting her hair washed, and she's like flipping the magazine, like, okay, don't fuck this up, don't fuck this up, like stay on cue. And in
Yeah.
true Miranda fashion, she just has this word vomit and she admits why she's really there. And like, she wants to get to know the baby, basically. Like, she meets the girl's like hugely pregnant, by the way, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're led to believe, at least I was, that like he just got this girl pregnant, but she's like ready to pop.
No, because he tells them at the table that he saw her, he bumped into her, and he saw the big belly, so he knew that she had been pregnant for a while. She was very
Okay, okay,
pregnant.
I missed that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I missed that.
So I enjoyed watching this Miranda bubble. There were elements of Miranda in this episode that made me feel like, oh, okay, this is what we miss about Miranda.
Yes.
The group call with Charlotte and Carrie was the main thing. I was like, yes, they're on a group call. It feels like what Sex in the City was all about with the girls. I wish she would have just added Samantha on there. But I understand. It would have been too much to ask. I get it.
I thought that
But I,
too.
I I enjoyed the element of the group call. I appreciated that Miranda was very much Steve's ex-wife in this, but it was also Brady's mother. At the dinner
Yes.
table, you could very much tell she was very much attentive and aware of what Steve was going through and his reaction, and she was very much aware and in the correct place when it came to receiving what Brady was putting down. So I enjoyed the elements of that. I didn't like the line that she said to Charlotte about Brady gets the girl pregnant and I have to be a mother again. I didn't like that because that seems so very non-Miranda, and it kind of reinforces what we've been saying about she hasn't been a mother. She hasn't been a mother since she's been back on the show, and I don't like that about the character. So the fact that they reinforced it with that little line, I didn't like that, but everything about it I enjoyed. I'm interested to see what the end of this narrative is going to be with Miranda and Brady, because Miranda now is in a spot where it's her. storyline can go in any direction. And the fact that they have 2 episodes, it means that they can literally write her in whatever direction it takes her. If they do a big time jump and they jump for a year ahead, that baby could already be out. It could be so many different
Yes.
things. So I'm interested
Yes.
to see where it goes.
I know we're going to talk about this more in the after show, but I am not a big believer that this was supposed to be the end of the series. I do think that the series was going to go in a different route, but I was saying to myself, do you think they would have time to like, and maybe you would know this, to like re-record certain things and put out like a different episode where they do a time lapse?
Yeah, they can do reshoots. You can always do reshoots. You always have time allotted after you film an episode to reshoot later on.
Okay. Because I feel like if we do see like a time lapse, which I kind of would like, right? I know that it definitely wouldn't have been planned because no one can tell me that they knew this was the last season. But I would love to see kind of like a time lapse to see where they are. I also didn't really like that comment that Miranda made, but to me, I am gonna like push back a little bit with you. I think that is Miranda. I think that's like classic little like judgmental, selfish Miranda, because she was always a little bit selfish. Like I can
Yeah,
see
yeah,
her
yeah,
saying
yeah,
like, "Oh
yeah.
my God, I'm a parent again." Because let's be for real, Miranda did not like kids. She just really liked Brady. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and she loved Steve enough to be a parent with
To
Steve.
be a parent, and so this to me felt like check for Carrie. This is old school Sex and the City Carrie. Check for Miranda. This is old school Sex and the City Miranda. Like, I really liked it. And I even like the comedy to it when she like reveals her plan of to why she's there. And then you see this judgmental, I'm gonna say it like it is, Miranda, like, oh, would you maybe want a paternity test? Like, come on. That was classic Miranda.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
was classic.
It was in
She
that space of
deserves to get
like,
sprayed on.
yes, I absolutely agree. That was very much in the space of like the shitty Miranda, and she deserved what she got. I had a thought when the scene at the dinner table was going on because it made me feel, and I know I'm jumping the gun here. I know I am way ahead for to even say this, but it made me feel in a way. Before I say this, where is Joy?
Joy don't even like family dynamics for real.
Okay, girl. Because I was wondering, I was like, wait, did I miss something? Where is Joy? Where did she go? But all that to say, it made me kind of feel like they're building it for Miranda to get back with Steve. Because the way that they structured the dinner, Steve was praising her in the apartment. He was making himself she welcomed him very much. This was his first time in the apartment, you could tell. And it made it feel like, oh, this feels so good. And she was like very much like they were reminiscing on their time getting their first apartment. Brady was cooking for them. They gave them this familiar vibe, and they're not elaborate enough to make this and do this and make it into something that's gonna turn into something else. They've done this before, and we predicted the things that are going to happen later. Like with the gardener, we knew Sima was going to hook up with him later. With Duncan, you predicted in the very first time that Carrie was going to hook up with him later. So if this is a setting up for Miranda to end up with Steve, I wish the worst on them because you had Miranda, you had us endure Miranda's journey with her sexuality throughout through last 3 seasons, only to bring her back to Steve. If that is the case, which I wish, I mean, don't get me wrong, I wanted Miranda and Steve. I
Yeah,
rooted for Miranda and Steve. The fact that
absolutely.
they took that away from us in such a visceral way. If ever they bring them back to ended with them two together, that's some fuck shit. I am going to
Oh yeah.
really detest that because it's not going to make sense. It's basically you saying, "Oh, everything you watched in this series, forget it."
Yes. Yes. And to be honest, on the more like, you know, stepping out of like the Sex and the City world, but into like the network world, that's all we wanted as fans. So it would be a real like respectfully, fuck you, because you could have been given this to us. Like your ratings would have also been up if you would have at least shown a little struggle, right? There's nothing wrong with questioning your sexuality. Am I
Of
bisexual? Am I
course.
gay?
Of course.
Am I lesbian? Like, we would have loved to see that. But if it was meant for her to get back with Steve, let that be like the hiccup. Maybe they have an open marriage, like we said. Maybe they
We
invite
gave
girls,
20,000 suggestions on how they could have done that.
so many. But you get back with Steve season one or early season two. But to bring him back now, that is a broken man. And that is why I will die by justice for Steve. Hashtag justice for Steve.
Yeah.
Because if they get back
Yeah.
together, it's still going to be hashtag justice for Steve because he dealt with this shit since the original series.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in true writing fashion, though, for this show, I can totally see that happening because I thought the same thing too. I'm like, oh my God, they're gonna get back together. Joy,
They
so it's
felt that
something about
way.
this episode, and the fans, you guys can tell us more, but it was something about this episode that made me feel like Joy is going to be no longer. She's not gonna find any
Yeah.
joy in this relationship. And we're gonna
Yeah.
see more of Steve. And I will detest it too, because Steve doesn't deserve that.
Yeah, that was an interesting journey to have gone through. I was just asking myself so many questions about it because it just felt like the type of shit that they would do. And at
Of
that point I
course.
was like, it just wouldn't make sense. But I guess we're gonna see what happens in the next two episodes with Miranda, Steve, Brady, and if Joy ever makes an appearance back to see how it all ties in the end. And then I want to pivot over to Anthony, if that's okay with you, and kind of like get to
Yes, let's
Charlotte a little
do it.
later. Because in this episode, okay, let me be very careful with how I say this because I don't want to get it confused. Like I've said many times before, if there's something that I want when it comes to gay characters is visibility. I want as many gay characters as realistically possible and throw them all in there. What I've been asking for since the series started, they gave it to us in this episode, but they gave it to us in kind of a clump of a way of like, here you go. You've been asking for this love story, take it. And it's like, no, but now maybe I don't want it because we catch up with Anthony and Giuseppe and they decided to throw all this sex at us all of a sudden, which we haven't seen Giuseppe and Anthony in these sex scenes at all. So it's kind of very like throw it at your face type of situation and and I know it's gonna sound some type of way, but I mean it when I say it didn't look sexy, it didn't look hot, it didn't look like an it felt as cringy as the Aiden Carrie situation before. It just felt like, oh, I know that they're naked and I know that this is sex, but I don't like this. And I
I
didn't like the
know.
way that they painted it. I just didn't enjoy it. And then their sex is interrupted and then they're sleeping and it's interrupted. I just wish that when they hear the notes, they would hear the notes, put them down and say, how can we make these notes look good? Instead of, oh, you want all these? Here, take it. And it's like, wait a minute. You can't just throw this shit at us and expect us to eat it like it's caviar because this is just a dump of shit. And again, justice for Anthony. We've been crying justice for Anthony for the longest, but at the same time, this is not Anthony. This is not the Anthony we wanted. Nobody asked for this. And if you were going to create this very, very unbelievable Giuseppe Anthony relationship, you should have made it into a believable visual, into a believable thing. I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, I will say I agree. It just feels a little off, like the way that they're writing it right now. And I'm like, on one hand, I'm excited to see Anthony finally on screen. Like these last few episodes with Anthony, I'm like, yep, that's the Anthony we love. Yep, that's the sassy queen we love. Love him. But
Yes.
now it feels like it's almost like the writers give us exactly what we want, and then they say, "Oh my God, how can I fuck it up again for all of them?" Like I just did not care for the storyline in this episode, and I'm like,
Yeah,
"You
we didn't
guys
need
had
to see
great,
him naked and his ass all out like that wild.
right? You everything was going so well, and then I mean, what I did like is that it seems like we're getting somewhere in their relationship. Like I thought the old comedy for Sex and the City definitely came back because remember Giuseppe's like going to the bathroom and he sees this weird roommate with who Anthony
Yeah,
called
yeah,
had an
yeah.
attraction for him, like jerking off to like the little
That was
puppet.
a cool scene. That was a cool scene. Yeah,
Yes,
and
I
made
love it
him
because
turn
then he's like,
around.
he turns around, he goes, okay, yeah, I'll move in with you. I'll move in with you.
Yes,
And I'm like, okay, so like comedy check plus. Anthony's storyline, like you guys just I don't get it. Like
yeah,
I
no.
don't get it. And look, I'm one for love, but it's like, okay, what are we doing? What are we
Yeah,
doing?
and I
Like,
again, I think we're on board for the love part of Anthony. We want it. We want Giuseppe. We want Anthony. We want all of it. And give him love. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Show it to us in a way that makes sense. Don't drop us here with the mother-in-law, and then drop us here with the crazy roommate of the boyfriend, and then give it to us in a way that makes sense, and we will be able to digest it better. I think that was our issue with Anthony.
it's like there's no flow, right? Like
No,
you're just jumping around and we're at the point where like, hello, we need some kind of flow. Like what's happening? What's happening with the crazy mother-in-law? The last time you walked in here, she had a knife. Like, what are we saying? What are we doing about this? Like,
absolutely.
it was just a little, I mean, it was a little random, but in old Sex and the City universe, randomness worked, right? Like, because they knew what they were doing. They always end up back at the storyline and they knew what to give us and what not to give us. And just like that, randomness just doesn't work. And my
Well,
biggest fear is that they're giving us what we want with Anthony and Giuseppe only to then like break them apart.
I don't even want to get into that, girl. But you just said the Sex and the City chaos makes sense. The randomness makes sense, and it did make sense because their storyline was focused on only four characters. It was the foundational characters, and even if things went array outside, they could come back to those four characters, and it was like a reset. It was always like a reset. They could fuck it up. They could fuck up a storyline at any point in time, but it would always go back to these four ladies, and it would be fixed because we had a grounding. With so when you cram so many other characters into the session and then have to decide where to take them, it kind of leaves you in with a responsibility, and it's a responsibility that I don't think they've assumed.
Right.
But speaking of flow and mother-in-laws, I really want to address Lisa Todd Wexley. I've been talking about Lisa and praising Lisa so much. I am going to say solidly, Nicole Ari Parker has been the best actor in this show. She has brought the best vibes to the show. The character Lisa Todd Wexley has had the best full circle timeline, has had
Yep.
the best storyline the entire way. And no matter, even if the scene is stupid, her family, the entire dynamic of the Wexley family has brought such joy to the show. Watching Lisa's family on the show has been such a positive note. There's never been a part that I've seen them in the show that I'm like, shit. No, it's always good. It always feels good to watch them, and I really am enjoying that we have this character in the Sex and the City universe that something can happen with her later. You know what I mean? And I want to say that because I feel like this is one of those situations where we get this character. We're probably going to never see her again after the show is over, but do something with her. Like, you created her. And Nicole Ari Parker is doing such a phenomenal job at embodying her. Bring her to something else. Like, move her along with something different. And I know that we're almost at the end, but I would like to see that. I would like to see that for Lisa Todd Wexley. And in this episode, Herbert goes on for his, I think it's a debate, but it
Yeah.
was a debate, but it's also the day of the election results for his position, and he loses the election. And I thought it was a very real dynamic. I thought their acting was the best of this
Yeah.
show, of this episode, because he lost it. He was upset. She was trying to be a supportive wife. The whole entire family was in on this. I really liked it.
I will say 1000% yes to everything you just said. I mean, she is so enjoyable on screen. She gives us something that I don't think the other girls can give us. Miranda gives us, oh my God. Carrie gives us, okay, what now? Even though I want to circle back to Carrie at some point. because I do like seeing this selfless Carrie that she was in her relationship. And that's what makes it me pissed off a little more about how they wrote Aiden and how they never. But anyway. Then we see Anthony and we're like, what the fuck are you going to give us? Then we see Charlotte and we're like, oh my God, she's just old on screen. You see Seema, you're like, oh my God, she goes here still? Like, the fuck? We're only here for like 10 seconds. You see LTW saying that to say, and it's a breath of fresh air and light. Even if she's on the screen and it's not making sense, I enjoy the banter. I enjoy her kids. I enjoy just seeing that family. And I'm like, but at the same time, wasted potential. Like
Agreed.
we could do so much more with this character, and I will say she is giving it everything she has because it's only likable. Like they don't even write her so well, but the way she portrays this character is so great that we're so like captivated. Anyway, moving
Yeah.
on. Her mother-in-law is a bitch. Her mother-in-law is a bitch. She,
Man,
I cannot stand her. Okay, bi
really?
TCH, okay, in that order. I don't know if you remember Love and Hip Hop, but anyway,
Yes, I do.
so I just feel like, you know, and that's one of the things that I like about the show is like seeing at least that little bit of context. Like, she had such a human moment on the show with everything going on that we saw a parent. She yelled at her daughter, and I loved it. She called her like, "How can you be so stupid?" It was real, right? Like that. Here comes the mother-in-law, not like just being annoying, like, oh my God, is that how you speak to your kids? But then the irony is the moment Herbert lost that race, she's so mean to him. She's like, how could you run for a race if there was a potential for you to lose? And I'm like, so you're getting on LTW for like having a human moment and not even like being mean, but not really meaning to, but you're so mean. Like you're such a
Tactless. She was tactless.
so tactless.
Yeah.
Oh, couldn't
Yeah.
stand her.
I agree with you. I don't know that her okay, here's my thought with her mother-in-law. I don't know that her mother-in-law is a bitch. I think her mother-in-law is one of these older New York City moms in power that have always been in a position of wealth, that have always been in a position of you could tell that she's probably never had to want because she's always had, right? And so it leaves her in a position where she's going to be harder on her kids so that they can reach to a certain level. The way that she's doing that is terrible. The way she's doing that is bad. It's very unmotherly. It's just it has the wrong tone. I don't like the way that she responded to Lisa. Lisa was literally overwhelmed. She had so much going on, and then now is this fucking rat running all over the fucking condo. What the hell is she supposed to do? You know what I mean? It was a very real reaction. I, however, appreciated, and this is the tonal where when Lisa lost it, she was beating on herself about it. And Herbert stepped in and was very supportive of her. He let her know, no, 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 no.
Yeah.
But you're a great mother. You're doing
Yeah.
all of this. You know what I mean? This is you. You're doing all of it. You're handling it.
Yeah.
And while her mother-in-law, it is what it is. They were able to still come back to each other and give themselves that support. Now, when Herbert lost the race and they came back home, Lisa did that for him. And she was
Yes.
able to tell him, no, 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 you're human. Just as he told her earlier. And I appreciated that so much because they make so much sense. You could tell that this
Yes.
couple, this relationship has been through so much, has endured so much, but has been able to make it to the other side successfully. They've been able to come together and figure out a solution to everything they come through. And a mother-in-law is just going to be a mother-in-law. She's always going to be the situation there, right? But for them
Or a
to be able to
bitch.
put everything else outside and come together in every way to support each other, I think that's what matters the most in this situation. And I love seeing that because they did it so well.
Did and I did enjoy her little arc, albeit it was very, very, very short. I did enjoy it because, you know, it was so real, it was so raw, it was so human, you know, and I just felt so bad for him because he was hurt. He
Yeah.
couldn't see past it
He was so
for right
sure he was
now.
gonna win.
He was and when she kept like trying to talk to him, he was just like, He just kept going on. But that's what made me so pissed with his mom because he was so hurt. She just like knocked him while he was down. And nothing that LTW was going to say at that moment was going to make it better. And, you know, that's normal. But he just seemed so defeated when like, he was walking past her. And I'm like, yo, can we kick this lady out the house?
I
Like,
know,
I
I
don't want to
know.
see her on my screen because I hear everything you're saying. She's an old school mom. She's this. It is what it is. It's like that. And all of that boils down to she's a bitch. But anyway, I digress.
No,
Ah,
you're right. You're right. You're absolutely right because we see this beautiful dynamic between this couple. They're great husband and wife. They're amazing parents. They're killing it in their careers. And here's this mother-in-law just adding pressure and adding weight to their dynamic that's unnecessary to add. But I see a beautiful future for them, and I hope
me
they
too.
don't fuck the Wexleys up in the next two episodes. I hope the Wexleys have the see off that they deserve. I hope that they have the ending that they deserve. I hope they don't turn this around and give us some fuck shit when it comes to the Wexleys.
They probably
But
will. But
I it would break me. It would break me.
if they write them well, it'll be so unnecessary. And speaking of unnecessary, pray tell, what was going on with Charlotte? Unnecessary. Like, why, Lord, are we writing these storylines for her that are so unnecessary? Like,
They don't have anything else to write for Charlotte.
but you know what pisses me off? Okay, so in this episode, guys, like, Charlotte won like some cheap ass raffles at therapy or whatever, right? And so she's trying to Zoom therapy, but it's not working because she's a mother. She's at home. Harry's at home. The kids are at home. They're doing
It's not therapy,
construction.
by the way. I think we need to be very clear on what it was. It was a an energy cleanse session. It had nothing to do with therapy. It had nothing to, yeah, it's an energy cleanse therapy session where it's just yes,
With the chakras
exactly.
and shit. Okay. Um,
Yeah,
right, because they need to cleanse the energy of the poor writing on this show. Okay. So
girl.
she's trying to, and so she's so cute. Like she's trying to get zen and everything, but she can't because life is happening, you know,
Yeah,
whatever. But then that was it. Like that's it. That's all they gave us. She's trying to get on the Zoom. She can't get on the Zoom. Her kids are tap dancing or whatever, like being kids. And then she tries again. And then what I loved was on her second attempt, she gets real with the person that's helping her. And she's like, you know, I was so afraid. My husband was diagnosed with cancer. I didn't know basically if he was gonna live. It was the roughest time for me in my life. And when she said that, I was like, okay, yes, more, more. And that was it. And I was like, wait, what? And it goes back to
yeah.
like the context. Like, oh my God, we're talking about Harry again. Oh my God, we're talking about his cancer again. Oh my God, we're talking about like this pivotal part of their marriage. Fear for sure, right? The ever optimist, the person who is never afraid of anything, right? Like, let's keep that going. And they just like, oh yeah, like which wallpaper would you like? And it was just
Yeah.
that the rest of that I feel was unnecessary, right? Like all that background noise, but when are we gonna get to the nitty gritty of Charlotte and Harry and their family?
I don't think we are, especially now so close to the end. I don't think we are, and I think this season made it very clear that the production team wanted to make Charlotte into this accessory of the friend group. This mom who has it all right, and things go wrong, but she figures it out, and they end up right. But they wanted to paint her as this, oh, she's just there, she's just sitting at the table, and I that's kind of what was fed to us, right? That's what was given to us because we we've always gotten to know Charlotte more and more the more we see her, and I feel like for an entire season that we've had her, I didn't get to know anything different about her, anything new, anything fresh. And I think Harry's cancer was a journey they could have taken us on, and this they decided not to. Lily's whole season, they could have taking us through that as well. And, you know, that was what it was. Rock, nothing about Charlotte gave us any depth. And I feel like they
Nothing.
kind of made her into this. Well, Miranda is a lesbian now. Carrie's going through these love situations in this novel. Lisa has her career in check. Seema's figuring out her new firm. Charlotte could just be there. And it's like,
Yeah.
that's such a fuck you to Charlotte because
Yeah.
Charlotte, for as minimal as she made herself be in the original show, Charlotte was a large character to us and she
Yeah.
was a pivotal piece to the entire puzzle. So yeah, this was very much, you can tell that they were not interested in writing Charlotte, and it showed. This season showed more than the seasons before.
I do agree with you. And I think what pissed me off is like you introduced these other characters who in their own right stood out, right? We love Seema, we love LCW, but you did like a back burner to Charlotte. And it's like, okay, we have these new faces. And I need to say this, but again, you know, we're going to be woke. We have these new faces, right? And then it's like, but one of the most pivotal characters is like to the wayside. Like, you don't know what to do with her. She's so uninteresting. You know, I mean, we love to watch her because she's Charlotte, but it's like, does she even go here for real? Like, she doesn't even go
Yeah.
here for real. Like, why is she even on the show? And I feel so bad because I feel like she deserved more. And she had so much happening. The
Oh yeah.
career, her like us tapping into Bonnie mode, dealing with her daughter's first heartbreak. You know, like we saw when Lily was getting her period and when Lily was going through this and all these other things, and when Rock was, you know, coming out and into her sexuality. There's so many ways you could have made her go, especially with the cancer. And you just said absolutely not. Because we've
Yeah.
never gotten to see vulnerable Charlotte ever. Almost ever. Outside of like looking for love, she's always been perfect and put together and the perfect accessory. So this would have been great to see how is she struggling? Is she sleeping? Is she coping? I mean, I know I said it before, but like, is she eating? Who's there for her? Who's calling her? Right? You just found
Yeah.
out that her husband has cancer. Where's the dialogue? Miranda, are you calling her? LTW, are you calling her? It was absolutely nothing. Do the kids know? Right? Like he told the friends, do the kids know? Do the family knows? Like what is happening? And so honestly, I just thought it was unnecessary and it was a waste of time. But I always love seeing her on the show because she's just so important. And speaking of seeing someone on the show, like now we have Seema, and I do have to say that I did like what I saw of Seema. It actually made me appreciate her relationship with the garden a little more because they gave us a little more
Oh.
they gave us context and they gave us a little more
Yeah.
depth, right?
They
He's not as hippie-ish and as like kumbaya and as young as I thought,
Yeah.
but he has his shit together. You know, I like his personality. We start to see more of why he's so holistic, right? Like his
Yeah.
mom, everything that she went through. Like we find out like his mom passed away. She had cancer, but she was like such this vibrant person. And it carries into like his personality, like why he's so
Yeah.
holistic. You know, like the pottery, because she loves pottery and the plants and all of this. So like they finally, in 10 episodes, gave us death for Seema. What did you think about her?
This is how you really introduce a character. This is how you bring a character into the show at the end of things, and then you introduce them in this way because not only are we getting to know him, we're getting to know him in a way where through Seema. Seema's getting to
Yeah,
know him, so we are getting to know him through her eyes. And I appreciated that she was in his apartment. Unrealistically, girl, that apartment will never go for $900 a month, even in a in a rent control building. But I appreciated that
with
she
this
was there.
inflation.
I I appreciated their dynamic. I appreciated their back and forth, and I appreciated the most that she took how seriously he took her on a journey of his life. He told her everything about him, his mom, his sister, and kind of took her through all of his life to bring her to this is what this plant represents and all that. And I appreciated how seriously she took when the plant
Yes.
dropped from the window because it was her saying, "Oh, no, I know what this means to you and how serious it is to you," to the point where she stopped talking to him for a while and he showed up to her job. And what I
Yes,
like the most about it is that he went back at her and been like, no, 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 no. You, yes, that happened, but you don't get to pull away from me. Like, I didn't tell you
right,
to pull away from me. So I appreciated that he since the beginning, since they met each other, he's been letting her know, I like you. And I like you regardless of your smoking, regardless of your bullshit, regardless of. I think it's so cute that your
right.
cat is literally tapping you like a young kid to pay attention to them. That was, he literally did this to you. He did,
Well,
hey, I
we
thought
have to
that was
keep.
so cute. Oh my god. But anyways, back to the show. I appreciated that because it let her know you can try to run away, but if I'm interested in you, I'm still gonna leave the door open. So what are you gonna do about it?
Absolutely.
And it kind of left her to understand I'm back in this. And it had meaning, it had context, it had depth.
Yes.
And all of those things we had not seen together for any character in the entire series.
I mean, on one hand, we did see the death for Aiden, and that's what pisses me off that they wrote him so horribly because we did get to see a little bit of context, like the bitch brat why he's going through that. Like we got to see a little bit of that, but that's not what we needed to really see.
But there was
We
so much
want
missing though. There was so much
there
and
was.
with Aiden, we got the context and the depth of his family situation, but we were missing so much context with the Carrie situation.
Yes, you're right. You're right. And that's the part that I wanted to see. And it's like the Miranda was missing, the Carrie was missing. Lord knows Anthony and Giuseppe was missing, right? And LTW, someone on the Great State of Reddit said it like, we're tired of seeing her at work. Like, what else is happening, right? Like, but I feel like we finally got that from Seema, and it feels really great. And that's why it almost feels like we got really cheated that we have 2 more episodes left and you're finally writing her well. She's finally getting more
Yeah.
screen time, right? She's finally meeting the love of her life. And yes, I'm one to admit when I'm strong and wrong, and I was strong and wrong about him. But it's like now where do we go from here? Like I'm hoping that they keep this up because this is what we've been wanting to see since season 1. Right? We've been
Mm.
wanting this happy ending for her. So like don't fuck it up, you know?
Yeah.
But we'll
I I
see.
I will, as it pertains to the next 2 episodes, what I would like to say is I hope they do not do a massive time jump. Sure, go ahead 9 months till Brady's
Yeah.
kid is born. Sure, go ahead however long it takes for Carrie to have many. Oh, jump forward enough to where it makes sense for what you're trying to wrap up. Don't jump ahead enough to where too much time has passed and you cannot introduce stories into the narrative of this universe. Because let's say this show ends, which I am not happy that we do not get more content for the Sex and the City universe, but I am happy that the show is ending because it was a terrible
Yes.
show. It was a horrible
Yes.
show, and our nostalgia carried us through it, which I was very appreciative of. But this show needed to end. It was a bad show, but we still have an attachment to these characters. We have an attachment to this New York City and everybody that's involved in front of this screen. We want to see more. I want to see more. I hope there's another movie. I hope there's some sort of spin-off with the kids. I hope there's something in the future because this world has so much to give out. And if they pull it out correctly, they'll be able to give us a lot. But I don't think the interest was to do that when it came to the show. I think it was very much about, well, y'all want to get back together and do something? Hey, let's do it. You know what I mean? And
That's what I think it
and it's
was.
not like they're not gonna be fine. I mean, Carrie has the next Hocus Pocus. Everybody here is booked.
Everyone,
You know,
yes.
yeah. There, so one someone's podcasting, the other one's here has political ambitions. There's everybody has something going on. It's not about that. It's about if you're going to give us the world again, if you're going to bring us back into the world, make it make sense. Make it because of a reason. Don't make it because oh we want to produce some more content about it because this proved it does not make sense.
It does not make sense. It does not make sense. And I feel like it was a horrible show with like no real character development, and everything that we wanted to see you just butchered and butchered. You know, one of my biggest things on the show was like again Miranda, like what happened there? What happened? There's a whole gap missing and
Yeah.
we'll never know, and it doesn't make sense. Aiden came back, apologized for rushing her to marriage, apologize for all these things, only to backtrack and be this jealous boyfriend. Like, and then they didn't even work on it either. It was like, okay, bye. Like, Charlotte, again, Charlotte's just a filler. And then the people that you bring in to replace Samantha, because she's a tough person to replace, it's like, oh, they're just pretty to look at. I love foke. So like, I do agree with you. It needed to end. I really wish it would have been written a little bit differently because it had so much potential. And I just want to say this to the fans out there because I know a bunch of us have said it. And you and I have been talking about how much we don't like the show. I never want anybody to think we like hate the characters or anything. I want to be clear. We hate the way the show was written. We didn't want it to be canceled. We just wanted it to be better. That's all we wanted.
Yes,
Just be
yes,
better. Learn from
yes.
what we're saying, take your
Yeah.
notes, and figure out a way to make this work. That's all.
Yes,
But
I think us being here shows how much love we have for this world, for this universe, right? The cinematic universe. And I feel like that's a testament to how what they created before and how they caught us into it. But I'll end it with this. Do not end this season with a wedding and do not end it with a funeral. Do not end this season with Seema getting married to the gardener. Do not. You're making a big mistake if you do that. Do not give us a wedding in the last episode. It's not going to go well. It's not going to be what we need to watch. And do not give us a funeral. Do not kill Harry. Do not kill
yes,
Steve. Do not give us either of these because it's the cliche to end the series on, and it's not going to work. And that's all I have to say, girl.
and just like that, that is a wrap for this episode. Guys, please don't forget to follow us on all socials. Um, we still have our giveaway going. And all you have to do is follow us on Blue Sky, Spotify, YouTube, like and subscribe to us on YouTube as well, and comment under every episode. Instagram. That's all you guys have to do to enter. And we love hearing from you guys. Thank you because I feel like every week we're getting new subscribers and we're so appreciative to you guys. 400 and change subscribers is crazy. We wouldn't be here without you. So we want to reward you guys. So definitely enter our giveaway. We are giving away over $100 of original Revirginized merch. Jay, I know you wanted to tell us one last thing before you wrap.
Yes, I actually wanted to add to the conversation because I know the world of podcasts is so oversaturated with so many pieces of content, but I also know that the world of Sex and the City, the cinematic universe of it, doesn't really have a lot of commentary around it when it comes to media. However, even though the show is coming to an end, this show is still under a production label. And if you enjoy watching our podcast, enjoy listening to us, you can still support it. Continue to share it, continue to like, continue to watch, because if this podcast it continues to have a life after the and just like that series, it can turn into something else. We've had proposals before that we've written to turn this show into something else that we would like to see it be. So if you continue to support it, that can give it that different life. But we want to see where everything stands with you all, because we want to make sure that
Yes.
if you're watching, if you're liking, if you're subscribing, we continue to do it for you. And with that, we will catch you on in the next one. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for listening. And don't miss the after show where we're going to get into the whole show and cancellation of it.
Bye. Revirginized is a production of J. Breyer Allen, hosted by Candice B., produced and co hosted by Jay, like the letter.